This video is brought to you by SoccerPro.com. Be sure to visit SoccerPro.com for all the latest soccer gear at everyday low prices with no membership fees. Don't forget to use coupon code SR4U at checkout for $10 off a $75 purchase, plus free shipping within the US. Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing video of a pair of X-Blades Wild Things. This is a very unique shoe from X-Blades, and if you're not familiar with X-Blades, they're a company out of Australia, and if you are familiar with them, you're most likely familiar with rugby because that's where they are kind of more mainstream, more popular, and it's a kind of a big misconception that X-Blades are specifically designed for use for rugby, because that's definitely not the case. They're designed for both rugby and soccer. You just don't see them as often in soccer. I'm sure you probably do in Australia, but here in North America as well as Europe, you probably are very unlikely to see a pair of X-Blades on somebody's feet. But they kind of contacted us and wanted us to kind of spread the word that these are usable for soccer. So very curious to try these particular shoes out. And this is the Wild Thing from X-Blades, which is definitely appropriately named. It's very, very crazy in this kind of tiger stripe, tribal looking design. And as far as the upper is concerned here, this is before I get to that, I even want to say this is kind of like their speed boot from X-Blades. It's one of the more lighter weight shoes. I weighed it myself. It weighs about 8.7 ounces in a size 9 US. So fairly lightweight, especially for how solid the sole plate and how solid the shoe feels as a whole. But as far as the upper is concerned, you have a microfiber upper here with these very unique rubber overlays. They're not even overlays, they're basically embedded in the upper. I've never seen anything like it. It's totally unique, and this rubber, it's not a grippy, like a sticky rubber. It's a very kind of matte finish rubber with this gritty, almost sandpaper-like texture to it. And you can see through all these black things. I don't know how great you guys can see that up close. If you check out the high-quality pictures on the review page on my website, you'll definitely get a better idea of how these are actually textured. But interesting to see how that's going to feel on the ball. I'd imagine it's going to provide some kind of grip. We have that running all the way through here, all the way through the midfoot as well. So I'm sure that's going to provide some kind of unique feel on the ball when passing, receiving, touching, dribbling. So very curious to try that particular upper out. The upper as a whole also feels fairly thin as well. A little bit stiff from right out of the box, but that's to be expected from a synthetic upper. So like I said, just very curious to try this particular upper out and see how it does feel on the ball. You're also going to see you have this crazy kind of metallic finish on here, just to talk about the colorway a little bit. The Wild Thing comes in a couple of different colors, this being surprisingly one of the more modest ones in this kind of metallic blue. There's even brighter colorways out there. If you are interested in checking those out, again, there will be buy it now links for this particular shoe on the review page on my website. Again, that link will be in the description. So if you do want to check that out, go ahead and check it. Again, that link will be in the description, so just go ahead and check that out. But as far as the lacing is concerned, you have a central lacing system here with a fold-over flap tongue. So you don't have a full, you don't have a kind of independent tongue. It kind of rolls over from the instep and folds over top. So a little bit different, something more that we've seen less and less of, at least. Something along the lines of like an older T90. That's kind of what this shoe really reminded me of. But very cool, very different looking shoe. If you want to stand out, this is definitely one that you may want to take a look at. And as far as the sole plate is concerned, you have the Bionic sole from X-Blades. And basically it features a couple of different things. You have the XRS stud pattern system, which stands for X Release System. And basically what the concept here is to provide a stud pattern that's not only going to perform at a very high level in providing optimal traction, but is also going to provide a good safety benefits where it's going to release. It's not going to dig into the ground too heavy, where if you take a knock to the side, you're going to have an issue with your ankles or your knees or something like that. So it's designed to be grippy when you're pushing off, but when you actually have your foot planted and somebody hits you or something like that, it's not going to grip into the ground to the point where you are going to be stuck and possibly could cause yourself some injury. Also, it has kind of this offset stud pattern thing where you have almost like a heel gradient, where you sit slightly higher in the heel. But again, this seems to be very, very minimalistic and nothing like a running shoe, at least from what I could tell. As far as the stud pattern is concerned, it's very, very unique. You have these studs that are kind of all scattered all over the place at somewhat strange angles to what we would normally see in a bladed stud pattern. Generally, in a bladed stud pattern, you see studs running along the outsides, kind of parallel to the shoe,
and then a couple support studs in the middle. Same with the heel studs, they're kind of parallel to the shoe. They don't really change as far as angles goes, but this one really doesn't happen like that. They're kind of all different angles scattered all over the shoe. So very curious to try this particular stud pattern out, but I can see the logic behind it. You have these kind of 3 studs being parallel here, almost as push-off studs, and then you have these 2 studs at the front here, also acting as somewhat of a push-off stud. And you have extra studs in here kind of to push off when changing direction. Really curious to try this particular stud pattern out. Then of course the studs at the heel are, you have your standard 4 studs, but they're kind of slightly angled inwards, which is, to me, is just a little bit strange. So again, very curious to try it out. You also have the dual density system in this particular stud pattern, or the Soleplate rather, that where the forefoot is going to be a thinner plastic, more flexible, where the midfoot and heel area is going to be very stiff. You really can't flex it at all. So it's going to give the shoe a very solid feel while also maintaining a very lightweight feel with this particular shoe. So like I said, that solid to lightweight ratio is going to be pretty good on this particular model. And then as far as durability goes, it's very solid. All of the X-Blade shoes that I've seen so far have just surprised me with how well built they seem to be. I really couldn't see the shoe breaking in any way. It's really well built. There's nothing I can see that's going to be a defect or anything like that. And even the bond between the sole and the upper is very solid. You have this kind of twine stitching all the way around the shoe, so it's all the way really stitched in nicely, and I can't see it separating or anything like that. It's also glued in as well, so you have a couple of different ways how it's secured to the sole plate. So if you're always one of those people worried about your sole separating from your upper, I just can't see that happening with this particular shoe. But like I said, guys, if you want to check out the high quality pictures of this particular shoe or the buy it now links for this particular shoe, there will be a link in the description right to the review page on my website. So go ahead and check that out if that does interest you. As far as the full written review is concerned, that should be up in a couple of weeks or so, guys. I really want to get to wearing these shoes before I kind of make any opinion on them. So just keep checking back to the website for that. I'll post an annotation on this video when it does go up. But if you want to be kind of up to date with all the latest content, go ahead and check out the Facebook page down below, guys. There will be a link in the description of that. And basically what happens on the Facebook page is any new content that goes up on the website, any new shoes that I get in for review, any pictures, any great deals that I find floating around online, I tend to post it on Facebook. So if you just want to be up to date with all the latest soccer content coming from SR4U, that's going to happen on the Facebook fan page. So if you haven't gone and checked that out, again, that link will be in the description. And any questions or comments you guys have regarding this shoe, go ahead and leave one down below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.